Hello and welcome to Activate Thursday. This is our education webinar. We recognize that some of you joining us tonight are distributors with LifeVantage. We're grateful you're here. Some of you are customers of LifeVantage, and some of you are just curious and learning more about LifeVantage and our award-winning products. Well, we're grateful that you have chosen to spend time with us this evening, and hope you feel welcome and hope you feel edified and that you gain from the training tonight. I, for one, am very excited because I know the topic. And the topic is fantastic, but also because I know the presenter that's with us tonight, and she is equally fantastic and even more wonderful than the topic itself. And I will get to her in just a minute. The webinar tonight is being broadcast on Facebook, and a video of tonight's broadcast will continue to live right here on the LifeVantage Facebook page. So feel free to comment, ask questions down in the comment section. We will respond as quickly as we can, either myself or we have a number of individuals that are watching that feed, so they will try to respond as quickly as they can. Also, right here from this feed and in the future, you can tag friends, you can share this video. It's on a public facing page, so feel free to share it with anyone or tag someone and bring them in and have them watch the presentation with us tonight as we discuss and learn more about our recently launched True Science Liquid Collagen. Two quick pieces of housekeeping. One, sales of this product have been absolutely fantastic, way beyond forecast, and we couldn't be more excited and grateful for all of you that are out representing and promoting this product. And for those of you that are using it, thank you. We have been working diligently across the entire supply chain to increase production, both from raw material to packaging and into the finished good. You have seen, and we've talked about it starting the beginning of this month, shipment on orders that include liquid collagen are taking are taking 7 to 10 days to arrive, and that's simply due to the demand of the product. We are increasing production as we speak. We're doing that, and we're hoping to bring those 7 to 10 days back down to the expected 3 to 5 days shipping time as quickly as possible. Also, second piece of just housekeeping. The next education series that we have scheduled is going to take place at 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Thursday, August 25th. That evening, I will be joined by our Chief Operating Officer, Matt Cooley, and we're going to talk about the manufacturing process of liquid collagen, all the testing that goes into it, how we ensure that it is safe, that it is effective, that it's sustainable. So that's one that you won't want to miss. But let's focus on the topic at hand, and more specifically, our guest presenter tonight is Dr. Shaun McKee, who's been a physician for over 31 years and is currently with the board certified, and I'm going to say this incorrectly, Shaun, you might have to say this for me, neuroradiologist. I said it correctly, and CEO of Vitality MD, a global wellness company. She has a love of all things health and fitness, and having competed in over a dozen triathlons and marathons, including, get this, you guys, 2 140.6 mile Ironman triathlons and 2 ultra marathons. I actually didn't know that until just now. That's incredible. I have no idea why you would want to do that to yourself or to your toenails. She's been married to gastroenterologist husband John McKee for over 33 years, and she is the proud mom of 2 handsome adult sons and 2 happy little dogs. Shaun, and I hope it's okay, I do this every time. I'm on with such accomplished, wonderful professionals, and I just default to what's comfortable for me in calling you by your first name rather than Dr. McKee. And I don't mean to be rude. I'm comfortable with you and hope that that's okay.
Absolutely. Please do call me Shaun.
All right. Well, with that, unless you've got something to add to that intro, and by all means, if you do, please let us know more about you. And with that, I'm going to turn the time over to you.
Well, thank you, Jesse. I am so excited to talk about today's topic because I have fallen in love with LifeVantage's newest product. It's just surpassed all expectations. And I just have to say, I have been hoping that we would come out with the collagen But really, I thought, what can you do? You just do collagen. Everyone's got a collagen. We should have a collagen. I've been taking collagen for about 4 years. I've done all the popular ones. I've done powdered, I've done liquid, I've done bovine, I've done chicken, and I've done marine collagen with hyaluronic acid, with vitamin C, all the things. And I took it because I knew I should. I knew that we lose 1% of collagen per year. It starts at, mid 20s to 30, early 30s. And it's just a sad state of affairs. And one of the things that lots of women my age or younger, sadly, notice when they're doing downward facing dogs is they don't want to look at their knees anymore. They want to look forward. And this is something it's a real problem. So I was taking collagen because I thought, well, this is going to help, but I never really noticed anything, even though I was taking all the things that people see on social media as the popular brands. And I took them for months and months and months, sometimes up to a year or more. And so I was delighted that I could finally get collagen from us. I had no idea how much of a game changer our collagen would be. And so today I'm going to talk about our hero, one of our hero ingredients, and I really hope that somehow we can grab all of it in the world so that we can keep it to ourselves. Don't show this to any other collagen manufacturer, please.
Monopolize the supply chain.
That's right. So I'm going to start to share my screen, and let's see, we'll do that one and share and put on slideshow. Give me a thumbs up if we're good.
We're good.
Okay. Super. Okay, so we're going to go into a deep dive on our hero ingredient, ruby red quinoa extract. But first, I want to take a moment to discuss what is a peer-reviewed study, because the study I'm going to be reviewing is a peer-reviewed, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial. So a peer-reviewed study is really the top tier of research, and most publications out there are not peer-reviewed. And the reason is it's a long, hassle-filled process. So the reason that we have it is we want to subject an author's research to the scrutiny of others who are experts in that same field. And the reason we do it is to ensure that it meets the high standards of this particular discipline and doesn't make any unproven, unwarranted claims, no unacceptable interpretations, and we don't want any personal views that are out there getting published without an expert's scrutiny. So speaking of scrutiny, that's what the expert reviewer does. He scrutinizes a paper to evaluate the validity of the science, the quality of the experimental design, and the methods that were used and also determines whether this is a significant, area to research, whether it's going to contribute to the advancement in this field. And it's really done because they want to make sure that any specific scientific errors are caught and remedied, and that the references are appropriate and correct. These reviewers are the ones who recommend to the publisher whether the paper should be accepted, rejected, or modified / improved before publication. So it looks like this crazy process. So you do the study, you make them, you produce the manuscript, you submit it to the journal that you would like it to be published in. It can get rejected, and that you're done, or you try another journal. If the editor deems that the study design is appropriate for the journal, then they select a number of experts in the field to peer review it. So there's 6 or 7 reviewers, sometimes 5, who get the copy of the manuscript. They review it, and they each make their notes. They cross out this. They say this doesn't have this proper strength of analysis. This p-value is not stringent enough. This control group didn't account for this variable. All these things are considered, and they correspond with the journal editor and say, these are the changes I recommend. This particular cohort needs to be excluded, or whatever their recommendations are. And then the editor says, well, this is just too far gone, I'm going to reject it, or this is they didn't make very many substantial claims, I'm going to accept it and publish it. Or they made suggestions, then he's going to get back to the author and say, you need to modify these things, you need to adapt these things, you need to include this, exclude that. So then the author gets to work making those changes, and again sends it back, at which time it's either accepted or rejected. So that's the scrutiny to which peer-reviewed published research goes through in order to appear in a peer-reviewed journal.
And
Yes.
can I just interrupt? I love that you point that out. And maybe if you go back to that slide, I hope those that are watching right now, what I hope is like clicking is the time that is associated with this. I mean, it takes for some materials and some things, this is years of research. Sometimes it's not that much, but it's a lot of time and very expensive. And it's not just kind of haphazard thrown together. Like there's some real work that goes into all of this.
Absolutely. And, a lot of companies have good products, but you'll find that the research that was done was just kind of in-house, done by their scientists and not subjected to this type of scrutiny. So I'm really proud to be, associated with and working with a company that has the science that you can depend on, as Dr. Perlmutter said long ago in one of the videos that I saw when he was on our scientific advisory board. So,
I appreciate that.
Pardon?
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I love that. I love that we have the science, and I love that our products bring something unique to the table whenever they're addressing a specific need, and they knock it out of the park. They address the need, in my opinion, better than anything out there. And we're going to talk about this study today. This is a study that's, like I said, randomized, double-blinded, and placebo-controlled, and involved 30 women, and they were ages. What were their ages? They were 30 to 55 years old. They volunteered. They took blood samples on the first day and then analyzed the skin. And we're going to get into exactly how they did that in a minute. They did that at day 0. They looked at the skin again after 4 weeks. And then 8 weeks, they actually measured the blood levels of catalase, which is an antioxidant enzyme again, and looked at the skin again. So that's how they did the study. So you can see 30 to 55-year-old women. They were randomized, half drank the placebo drink, half drank our hero product drink. And they looked at the condition of the skin at the first of the study, the beginning of the study, and again at 4 weeks and 8 weeks. And they did it in a very similar way. They washed and towel dried their face. And then they sat in the lab, because sometimes the humidity and the temperature of the lab is different from the environment that they came from. They could have been rushing and they had flushing of their face, or they could have been sitting in an office all day. So they just wanted them all to have that 30 minutes of kind of normalization of their skin in the lab. And so they measured 5 different points of skin evaluation or skin quality. The moisture of the skin was measured with something called a corneometer. The color of the skin was measured with a chromometer. That makes sense. The texture was measured by a visual analysis called Visia. The crow's feet depth and length was measured with a Soft Plus device, and it was just the depth. And the collagen density was measured by this really cool combination of Dermalab and Skin Lab. And these are the areas that they looked at. You can see on the image there. And now we've got our hero product that has entered into the thing. And you can see by the graph on the left that the skin moisture increased by nearly 14%, very positively significant, p-value of 0.0001, meaning, if they were to do the study in 10,000, presumably 9,999 would have that same result. Skin brightness increased by 4% almost. And to me, this is one of the things that I'm seeing myself in people, is I think somehow possibly our blended product does even better, but this is my evaluation. It's not a peer-reviewed published study, but I definitely feel like everyone I see, their skin brightness has improved significantly to me. They also measured the skin texture, and it improved 10%. And the great thing is, none of these people had any irritation, no discomfort. There were no quote unquote side effects with drinking our liquid collagen. So, so we see the brightness, moisture, and texture there. And here's a little example of how they measure the skin texture. You can see it's just kind of a visual analysis of the roughness of the skin. And the one example is just a patient where you can see a lot of roughness, and the other one is a different patient where you can see less roughness. And over time, it was about almost 10% decrease in skin texture. For me, I've noticed my skin is so smooth. I've never felt like I had smooth elbows before, but I can't show you because my shirt has sleeves, but I feel like my elbows are as smooth as a baby's bottom. I'm just delighted. I kind of rubbing my elbows all the time. A lot of us are, going, wow. So they measured crow's feet depth and found a significant improvement in the depth of these crow feet. You can see this line here looks pretty deep. And then it just, it gets less long to, in my opinion, and certainly less deep. Now, this is one of my favorite things. We're increasing the collagen density by 42%. Okay, this is huge. And 100% of the people in the study had these results. They noticed increased collagen density. So you can see on this graph on the left, higher collagen density is denoted by yellow coloring, lower by dark green or dark black. And you can see at week 0, there's a few yellow spots, some red spots, mostly green and black, dark. By week 8, it's just popping with yellow. There's like illuminated, like there's a party going on in that collagen. That is so cool. That collagen is dancing away in the skin, and that lady is very happy. I just know it. And then the fun thing is that while these changes are happening on the outside, and they're beautiful and they're wonderful, what's happening on the inside is equally as great. And this particular study using the red quinoa extract looked at the blood levels of catalase, which is one of those antioxidant enzymes that's responsible for turning peroxide into, neutralizing hydrogen peroxide. And the catalase levels were increased by more than, well, 3 times, 200%. So 100% would be doubly improved. This is a 3-fold increase from 100 the baseline to 302%. So over, 202% improvement, and 93% of the participants noticed had increased. They didn't notice, but they showed increased catalase. So here's your summary. And now all of the differences between placebo and ruby red quinoa were significant. And they talked about skin moisture, brightness, crow's feet depth, collagen density, and catalase levels. So that's exciting. What I really love, though, is how it looks. And these are just a few representative photos. And I chose men first because people think of collagen as a kind of a vanity product, a thing for women. But let me just tell you, men like to look good too. And these are some of our wonderful distributors. And I won't name names, but some of you might be able to recognize them, or maybe you've seen the picture and you know who they are. But look at the difference in the lines of the face before and after. And the skin, again, it's another example of the brightness and smoothness of the skin. And the lines under the eyes, the texture of the under eye bags, the depth of that. I think this is the nasolabial fold. And then it's not confined to just your face, your legs show it. Remember the downward facing dog? Well, this is Debbie. She's a wonderful yoga instructor who does plenty of downward facing dogs. And I bet you she's looking backwards now at her knees going, Yay! And this is a lady's arm. You can see the crepiness of the arm. Skin has vastly improved. How cool is that? And again, it's not just for arms and legs and faces. It's for necks. It's for bellies. It's for eyes. I just love the tightening that's happening because of the collagen density. This product is really a hero product. So I'm going to be quiet, Jesse, and see what else you have for me, because these are the results that I've gone through so fast, but I'm just so excited. I just talk fast when I get excited.
Well, yeah, it is very exciting. I appreciate as you've gone through this, a couple of things that I appreciate, especially talking about the study and the way the material is studied itself. I mean, this happened more when we first launched it, but now that it's been out on the market, I don't get these questions as much. But when we first launched it, there were questions like, "Hey, what should I expect after 7 days? And what's going to happen after I use it for like 4 months and I've had it for six weeks or 16 weeks?" And those are great questions, and I know why those questions would come about, but they're really hard to answer, because if you paid attention to what Shaun was explaining about the study. On this particular material, the baseline was established, and then we took readings at 4 weeks and readings again at 8 weeks. So we know what's happening at 8 weeks or 4 weeks and 8 weeks. But to say 7 days, it's complicated, and that's why it's complicated, because we don't have substantiation that has been validated. And so, anyways, hopefully that makes a little bit more sense when a question is asked and we're kind of giving an around the bout answer that doesn't feel like we're answering it directly. That's really the reason. I was reminded as you're presenting, the one thing that I guess I got I mean, I get excited about all of this when I see it, but I've been seeing it for so long as we worked on the development of the product. And, I mean, because we spend months and months with these products before they're ever released to the public. But the one thing that is just so impressive, and you alluded to it as you were talking, but the collagen density and the increase in collagen density, that aspect of this material is in my opinion the most important thing that it's doing, because she or he, whoever the consumer is, will have an immediate, that they will notice for sure improvements in their overall skin and the structure of the skin and how it looks and how it feels, simply by that benefit alone.
Yep, that's the only thing I noticed. Well, not the only thing. That's the biggest thing I noticed when I first started taking it. I was fortunate enough to be included in the pre-release trial. We called it the Bruno trial because we couldn't talk about it. I still haven't seen that movie, but I now know what it's about and I need to see it. But I was taking pictures and I just had the same expression. I wasn't savvy enough to take my neck and my eyes and, the sideways and the stomach and the legs. I should have. I wish I had. But in this one particular smiley face, I didn't really notice any difference. But I'll tell you, when I was touching my face, it's like my hands bounce off of it now. Before they would just kind of sink in. Now they're like, it's like, that's the thing I noticed. That and the moisture.
What the moisture? I had an interesting conversation with another distributor recently who was talking not specifically moisture, but just hydration.
Yes.
And hydration in the body. And what she noticed with is that just overall she is more hydrated because of the collagen, right? And her body's use of the water that she's drinking is better. So she's not required to drink as much water as she normally is. And this individual, we actually are going to do a podcast with her in the next little bit. She's fanatical about water and hydration, but she's noticed improvements in her overall just hydration and well-being of her body because of collagen and what it's doing. If you were to pick one thing, your favorite aspect of this product, what is it?
The results.
The results. Yeah, results.
How the glow, the brightness. And that's why I say when in that study, it only showed almost a 4% increase in brightness. But for me, every single person I've seen who started it and has been taking it for several weeks, their skin is brighter. Yeah. For me, I love the way my skin feels, but not everybody's going to be touching my cheeks, so they won't see that, but they'll see the brightness in all their friends. And so that's the most exciting thing. I wish it weighed less, so when I travel to Europe in a few weeks, I don't have to pay the extra fee for my baggage. But
you and I hadn't talked about this earlier, so I don't know if this is a fair question or if it's even relevant. But how have you incorporated this into your business or practice as a physician and a healthcare provider? Is it relevant for you? Is it not relevant? And that's a fine answer as well. But
yeah. So as a radiologist, all my patients are flat and two-dimensional, black and white, and so I really don't talk to them because they're gone by the time I'm reading the MRI. So I've never really incorporated it into my practice. But as a person that likes to share success stories, it's made it more visual because I can talk about ability to move and mood and all that's really exciting, but people can't see it. And that when people see something, they're like, they see themselves in the before picture and they want to see themselves in the after picture, and that's very exciting. And then you get messages from your friends. Like I have a friend, she actually helped me hang these degrees and stuff behind me. And she had been taking it for 15 days. And she literally texted me at 7 a.m. going, oh my gosh, do you want to be blown away? And she sent me a picture of her eyes. I should have put her in the slideshow, but picture of her eyes at the start of it. And it was just like she had a lift. And she said, I actually was scheduled to go. I actually saw a plastic surgeon about, removing some of that extra skin, and wow. So I love the stories. I love the fact that pictures are worth thousands of words, and that people see one or more of the problems that they are less satisfied with, like the downward dog rear view, and they just see a place for themselves using our product, using this product, and I love that they actually show benefits, and you get to
I haven't heard yet the crepey knee from the downward dog, and anyways, it's a great visual. It's a great example. It's really funny. I'm going to ask another question, and only because I'm similar in that I've used a collagen and taken collagen for probably at least 5 years, maybe even 6 years. And it was one of those products. The product is fine. I'm certainly not going to disparage the product, but it was one of those ones where I was taking it because I knew the benefits of collagen, more for me specifically as an athlete. Although now that I'm getting older, I certainly need it from just my skin in general. But from an athletic standpoint and injuries, and I was injured working out all the time, and I was taking it more for that. And it was one of those ones where I was like, I know I need this and I know I should be taking it, but I really don't know that this is actually doing anything. I couldn't tell. But the similar experience, and maybe if you could expand on yours a little bit. I mean, I noticed a difference almost immediately. And again, more so, at least for me, in the weight room than in these few wrinkles that I have around. But I certainly noticed it more there, and I don't know that I can attribute like recovery and all of that specifically to collagen, but I just felt better. Like I just felt better post workout, and the next day where I would normally ache and creak and my body would moan a little bit, and I'm just feeling better. But like the contrast between what you were using and now the True Science liquid collagen, what did you notice specifically between the two?
Oh my goodness. I never, like I said, like you, I never really ever noticed any benefit from taking the others. And again, I will give them 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, even a year each. And they were really good ones with really good reputations and purity and all of the things. And I was really happy for the companies that they had it, and I would take it. Never noticed anything. However, with this, I noticed the skin moisture probably on the 5th or 6th day. I noticed the bounciness of my skin probably by the 3rd week, but I noticed that my hands weren't as stiff. And when I did work out hard, and I don't work out as hard as often as I used to, but that 2nd day DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, it was, because you work out hard, you're going to have it, right? But it was just more like responsive. Like I would rub it, and instead of going, ow, I would just be like, that feels really good. So it was just like my muscles were adapting to the stress and recovering, I feel, faster. And I don't hear my ankles cracking anymore. My knees don't have the crepitus that they used to. So I'm loving the joint benefits too. And I really didn't expect that. I'm glad to have it. I'll take it.
Yeah, you mentioned ankles and knees, and I remember shortly after Kristen Cunningham, our chief sales officer, shortly after she started using it, she's had, I can't remember exactly, she'll have to comment on this, but I think she's had 3 different knee surgeries. She was an athlete growing up and still very active and athletic, and that was the first thing I believe that she noticed as well was I think the way she talked about it, she'd get up out of the chair and go do something after sitting down for a while, and her knees would just ache. And she realized, a week or so or a few weeks into using the product that had just gone away, that like she didn't have that achiness getting up out of the chair after having sat in a chair for an extended time, which unfortunately us adults end up doing way too much. Well, Shaun, this has been enlightening, and I'm sure the comment section is full. We'll jump in there and take a look at it and see what questions have come up and what insights have come out of this. And I'm sure there have been many. For those of you that are watching, we'll continue to feed or answer and respond to those questions, as well as give continual updates on the product. over the next little bit. Just a couple more reminders. Again, we're quickly trying to get the shipping, that shipping delay or not delay, but just the fact that it's taking 7 to 10 days to get the product to you, getting that back under control and get down to the 3 to 5 days that you would expect. And